sorry. You can't come in dressed like an idiot.
Hey, come here. There's a bunch of comedians hanging out with some friends. You're not supposed to be here, but if you're cool, you can come in. If you've ever been offended by anything, don't come in.
There is one, actually. We can put it on.
Well, I mean, I'd like to see what else is on. I miss Ray. I never see Ray enough.
We used to share egg creams at the Comedy Cellar, and then he got a big hit TV show,
Yeah.
and they started printing money just to hand directly to him.
He's part of the whole bailout mess. But it's his new show that he took another big leap that's fantastic.
I took a pay cut.
We're crying.
But that's true.
We're crying. Gary gave you your first job in writing, didn't he?
Gary hired me to write jokes for the Grammys.
Yeah.
1990.
Yeah.
You all remember it.
Yeah.
And I do remember some of the jokes.
Fire away.
I remember you had some joke. A country band came out, and the guy had these crazy sideburns, and you said, "I've never seen sideburns like that before, and I'm a Trekkie."
That's right. That is one of Judd's jokes. And also, didn't you?
That was your joke.
That was my joke.
My joke was, why am I hosting the Grammys? Obviously, I have nothing to do with music, but actually, I do have something to do with music. My girlfriend used to do the guy in Uriah Heep.
That's right out of my journal.
You had one of the best moments I ever saw on television. Bob Dylan had just accepted the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
Right, and it took forever, and he made no sense, and Nicholson presented it to him, and you came out, and after a really long pause, you said, Jack Nicholson and Bob Dylan were just discussing how they should do more television.
What I learned from that. You see, certainly when I started, and I think a lot of comics still feel this way, and haven't made the transition, is they think of everybody as an object. So that's an object for a joke because he was on before me. But if you end up then actually meeting the person,
Yes.
there's an apology necessary.
Why doesn't he apologize for babbling like a madman?
Paul, I was running
Now, why
titles.
can he talk? Who's this?
He shouldn't be able to talk before him.
I
That's true, fair point.
I am,
Fair point.
I'm of the younger generation, so I just wonder for all of you, who are you?
All right, now you can talk.
It's so good. It's so good because it's so mutual. The truth is, I saw your special like just a couple weeks ago. I was really into what you were doing, and I said, "Now who is this?" And then
He thought you were Emo Phillips.
I'm a big fan of Bo's, and you kind of had a quick trajectory in a very short time, and people gave you shit for it without even having seen
Yeah, the
you.
biggest reason people give me shit is since I came on the internet, they said that I didn't get enough criticism. I wasn't in the clubs grinding it out. But the truth is, for the older comics that say that, I want them to read 10,000 internet comments and see if they don't feel fully criticized. After that, I mean, like, it's the most vitriolic, personal. I mean, it's one thing for a heckler to have to heckle you on stage and own that moment, but when people are faceless and don't have to get the repercussions for that,
What's the worst thing they've said about you?
The first comment I ever got was when I was 15. It was "Go gadget faggot." That's all it was.
Well, all right, wait a second. That seems supportive.
I know.
And honestly, I meant it as supportive.
we were racing to that.
I know, we just cut you right off at the turn.
No.
Sorry, man.
Just as well, as long as someone said it.
So when I first met Bo, I asked him who his favorite comic is, and he said Hans Theeuwen. Exactly. He's a Dutch comedian. And when I met you, you were 9? I can't really talk about it because of the restraining order, but I was just blown away that you would even know who he was.
What's his name?
Hans Theeuwen.
Can you do a little bit of this thing?
He's a Dutch absurdist. One of the things he does is he brings out a sock puppet, which is a black sock.
See, already I don't like him.
Yeah, no. all right. It's a white sock.
Oh,
and then he just sings a song and feeds the sock a Baby Ruth and just crunches in the Baby Ruth the entire time. It's insane. Well, it just seems like the really only rules about stand-up comedy is you have to stand up on stage and you have to be funny. And there seems to be all these invisible rules that people put up, like, starting with your second best joke, ending with your best joke.
Who told you this?
Yeah, where?
I don't know. I took a comedy class. No, I didn't.
When I was 19 at the University of Arizona, I'd never been in a comedy club in my life. And I saw that George Carlin was appearing at a club in Phoenix, and I took my material naively up to see if he would look at it, because I sat down and wrote some material that I thought was right for Carlin. And he was standing by the bar, and I asked him if he would read the material, and he said, well, I write my own stuff, but I'll look at it. And he said, come back tomorrow night. And the next night I drove back. He, as it turned out, took me into his dressing room and had read everything and said, man, I think you're really funny. I think you're very green, but there's something funny on each page, because I think what he sensed is the essence of something funny. Yeah. And then that can be developed. Because at the core, your essence is funny, then you just attach it to your personality, which clearly should be checked.
Hey, Gary, I got a couple of jokes that I...
Yeah, my Carlin conversations were never really quite that. He would just call me on the phone, I'd go, hello, and he'd go, why don't men like to sleep with their women in the mornings? I'd go, I don't know, and he'd go, do you ever try and open a grilled cheese sandwich? Click. That
was... So he was using my stuff.
Apparently.
Like, did you ever have a moment where you were like, that guy's amazing, I'm gonna go up to him and talk to him?
Well, the first comedy album I heard was Bill Cosby. Somebody gave me the Bill Cosby album to Russell, my brother, whom I slept with. It was my first hearing anyone do stand-up, really, and it was just so natural and so, and he's the one who turned me on to it. I don't say I emulated him, but that style, that conversational style, was just appealing.
He was funny last night.
He was on Letterman last night. He was hilarious, wasn't he?
No, the fear is, as you get older, you don't hold up anymore. Right. And it was great, he's 73 years old, and I was laughing just like I was when he was young, yeah.
Did you picture your career this way when you started out? Is it like what you wanted?
Not here.
No, I
didn't know. My goal was to do stand-up. I just loved doing stand-up. I was making a living doing stand-up. I did The Tonight Show with Johnny. I did the HBO. I did the Young Comedian Special with this guy 17 years ago. It was the Young Comedian Special, and I was kind of old then.
Yeah.
I
noticed that.
I was like 35.
I remember at the time just thinking, Ray is so much better than all of us.
I remember seeing your stand-up and thinking, that guy's going to be a great writer. Wait a minute.
I watched outtakes from Raymond on YouTube, and every take you did a different punchline, and each one was funnier than the next.
Well, before we would tape the show, I would sit down with one or two writers and go, let's see if there are any second takes to do that kind of stuff. But I still thought of them.
Yeah.
I just...
He gave himself more of a compliment because that's the preparation that then allows him to get even freer after he does all that stuff.
Right.
That's the Zen Buddhism in you.
Yeah.
You've been on a real introspective journey, haven't you?
Till now, that's right.
No, because Mark and we've talked about this on his podcast, WTF podcast. It's the best. It's unbelievable. I highly recommend doing it. So we get really personal, and we had a conversation where we were talking about how introspective we got and how it screwed with us. And
is that the same as self-obsessive?
In your case, absolutely.
But I mean, how do you make the shift? Introspective sounds like actually noble.
Do you know you're self-obsessive?
Yes.
Then you're introspective.
Well, there's a difference, though. You can still be introspective and not show any of that on stage directly. Oh. Like, I don't talk about life.
I mean, you're so clearly, if I make this is a compliment, you are so clearly a very unique fellow that it's clear that just by being yourself, that stuff comes out of you. it doesn't mean that you have to talk about yourself necessarily.
Right. No. Right. Yeah.
Just play along. Just play along.
I know that you've been on an internal journey, a spiritual journey. Would you call it a spiritual?
Yeah, it's pronounced spiritual.
Thanks.
I've been meditating far too long to be happy about anything. I'm at peace, but I really don't know what I want to say about this.
Well, Gary brought one of his monk friends, a very serious monk, to the set of Knocked Up one day. And I was, a little nervous. And what it turned out we were shooting was a woman wearing a prosthetic vagina, and the head would just come in and out for that scene in the movie. And so we have Gary and the monk at the monitor, and I'm just going like, okay, head out of vagina. Head in vagina.
And the monk is in his robe,
Yes.
with a shaved head, with headphones on.
Yes.
And there's really nothing to hear except him yelling, "That's too far out."
Yeah.
And yet the beauty of it is I was watching him and he would smile because he felt what was happening was funny.
So in the movie Knocked Up,
Yes.
a head was coming in and out of a vagina?
Well, in the movie, it just came out.
Oh, I see.
But you see, Ray, when you shoot a movie,
You thought it was like an indecisive baby?
but we forgot, the key to it is, this monk, is that he has 7 fingers.
Yeah.
And
In total?
In total. And so he comes to our hotel room, and my wife instantly just said, "What happened to your fingers?"
Yeah.
Which usually you would wait a minute to ask somebody. And so now my children are there, and I'm thinking, well, this is a great moment because he'll teach them about Buddhism, and this will change their lives.
Yeah.
And so he said, well, in order to really practice and teach, I burned them off. I covered them with cloth, and I lit them on fire, and I meditated as a way of testing myself to be strong so I could teach other people.
And your kids are...
And my kids are like, holy shit, And then I hung out with the monk all day, and then I came back, and I said to my wife, what do you think of the monk? Hoping, like, in addition to the finger thing, she had a spiritual moment. And she just said, that guy's fucking nuts.
Are you that dedicated?
If I didn't bowl, I would burn.
Stand-up comedy and comedy seems so inherently Western. So like to understand Eastern, and that might be me being stupid. But how does that affect your perspective on comedy? Because I don't really
lay down
think
some
of
wisdom,
Eastern.
man.
Wow.
Yeah.
What happened?
Oh, yes. That is the correct question. The answer to that takes a tad of time. I think the Eastern philosophy really encourages authenticity, and nothing but authenticity. What I saw when I saw you on stage is I didn't see a fake moment.
But here's where it gets difficult to explain or understand, is that Bo actually, when he performs, there's a lot of ironic detachment there. There's a lot of, you're not really revealing anything of yourself.
I never talk about what I really think about on stage directly, because I don't value what I think at this point about those issues. Well, just really, I don't think anyone wants to get up and hear a 20-year-old tell them what they think about how the world works.
Would you do me a favor?
So I just kind of make jokes.
Would you do me a favor? Would you do Art Is Dead? Yeah. Because I think that song says everything that I think I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'll do that one. Yeah, sure.
Oh, he's a prop comic.
Art is dead. Art is dead. Art is dead. Art is dead. Entertainers like to seem complicated, but we're not complicated. it, I can explain it pretty easily. Have you ever been to a birthday party for children? One of the children won't stop screaming, cause he's just a little attention attractor. When he grows up to be a comic or actor, he'll be rewarded for never maturing, for never understanding or learning. Every day can't be about him, there's other people, you selfish asshole. Must be psychotic, it must be demented to think that I'm worthy of all this attention, of all of this money you worked really hard for. I slept in late while you worked at the drugstore. My drug's attention, I am an addict, but I get paid to indulge in my habit. It's all an illusion, I'm wearing makeup, Art is dead, so people think you're funny. How do we get those people's money? Said art is dead. We're rolling in dough while Carlin rolls in his grave. The show has got a budget. The show has got a budget. All the poor people, way more deserving of the money, won't budget because we wanted our name and lights. When we could have fed a family of 4 for 40 fucking fortnights. 40 fucking fortnights. I'm an artist, please God forgive me. I am an artist, please don't revere me. I am an artist, please don't respect me. I am an artist, feel free to correct me. Self-centered artist, self-obsessed artist. I am an artist, but I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid, I'm just a kid. Maybe I'll grow out of it.
Thank you, man. I think that's kind of interesting from a comic his age.
I thought it was cute.
It's very hard to watch someone that funny, that young, when you think of how unfunny you were at 20 years old.
All I did at 20 is worry about my hair, I think.
Yeah, that's a dead end.
As all you guys, as you got more successful, did you feel like you got better, or did you get more insecure?
I'm out of this one, right?
Yeah, me too.
Yes, you're out of it, but pay attention.
Okay.
If I think of when I was the happiest, and I'm not complaining, I love what I'm doing and all that, but I think when I was doing stand-up, when I was going to the cellar and hanging out with you guys, and my twins were 2 years old, kind of was crazy, I think of that, and I was still kind of screwed up then, but I think I was the happiest then. But I'm happy now, too. I'm not saying I'm not happy now. I'm saying I love the show, I love what I'm doing, I love getting the...
Ray is happy.
Yeah.
No. Let's just be clear about that.
Happy. This is me happy.
Ray is happy, so that don't leave thinking he's not fucking happy.
But there's another layer to this. I just have a little piece I pulled out of the documentary. You did a documentary with Tom Caltabiano.
During one of the hiatus on Raymond, we went on a stand-up tour, and he said, I'm going to film it. And it became this thing, yeah. It was against my will, almost.
It's called 95 Miles to Go. And there's some really interesting stuff in here that...
Put on the homeless guy with the good voice. You know, all this adulation.
Yes.
There's a part of me inside that thinks, that doesn't buy it at all. Like there's something in me that thinks any split second they could turn on me and say, "Oh, you're really a dick. Yeah, we don't like it." You know what I mean? Yeah, like the golf pros being my friend.
Of course, because it's artificial anyway.
Right. Maybe, but I mean, even.
No, but
I'm saying I don't even buy the artificial part. I don't even buy that they like me as a star, because I guess it's because inside I know I'm not quite what they think I am. It's a weird feeling of, even when they're cheering, there's a little part of you that still feels like you're an imposter.
Does that ever go away?
Not according to anybody I've talked to.
Yeah.
But did you think when your show ended that it was just such a monster success, one of the greatest shows ever in television, 9 years, it never got weaker, that it would fill your ego so you would feel great for 20 years and then it just didn't happen?
I believe that like for like a week. Like this is enough. All right, my father never hugged me, but this is fucking enough. Right? You know? He hugged me once, my father, and I was about 20, and it felt very awkward. And I know now what made it awkward, the nudity.
My mom would tuck me in and say, fuck me, honey.
Did your father hug you and then in your ear say, I don't want to live anymore?
You know, I could never make out what he was saying, but it sounded like that.
I was at a bat mitzvah, my brother's kid's bat mitzvah. It was my job to buffer my father from the world. All right? And I go to pick him up, thinking we're going to my brother's house to see the kids. I say, you ready to go? He goes, where are we going? I said, well, we're going to see Craig's kids. And he goes, what for? And I said, because they're your grandchildren. He goes, you know, some people get something out of that. I didn't get anything out of that.
Well, is that consistent with how you grew up with him?
What, that he's a pathologically selfish, narcissistic, bipolar freak?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking me, or am I reading into it?
What I'm asking you is, did you learn anything about you?
Yes.
What did you learn about you?
I learned that I never want to be that. That I have to fight the wiring.
Wow.
What?
I don't think it's going well.
No, we get along fine. He writes me emails in all caps.
I want to hear about your journey. I want to know if you've attained anything through your study of Buddhism.
I don't know if attained is the right word. So with the whole thing's a mess. I mean, you get closer to just being.
What exactly does that mean? So translate it into comedy, what it means.
Oh my God.
Translate it into comedy?
As a comic,
I will.
How do you...
It's closest to where he's starting, which is, I'm not really trying to be anything right now. I'm sitting down. This is what I do.
Do you think Bo's just healthy?
I think Bo's really healthy, yeah.
And he can be as funny as us fucked up.
Are you damaged?
No, I always...
Come on, you gotta be.
No, I
You wanna be?
I know. Oh, man. Well, the really fucked up part was, the little time I spent in clubs, I would find myself jealous of the problems that our comics had, because I felt like I wasn't legitimate, because anything that I've achieved in light of nothing. Like, I've had people patting me on the back since day one. I think I get
that's horrible.
I know, but it's true.
There's a thing in Gary's DVD where he's talking to Jerry Seinfeld, and he was saying, Gary, you know, it's not all about pain. You don't have to be in pain to be funny. Isn't it about talent? Can't you just be born with like a God-given gift and you're just a talented person and you can communicate and it's all about that?
I said, I hear rage.
Well, I just think the absolute comedy comes from pain. I think kind of limits what comedy is, because I think comedy comes from love, it comes from like fear, it comes from hate.
right.
You're gonna tell me you're not fucking angry?
Oh, no.
I mean, come on, I saw that song. I see how you look. I know what you went through.
No, total anger, but to say that it's...
You're angry at Justin Bieber, aren't you?
But I'm arrogant.
It comes from everything. It comes from everything is what you're saying.
But the anger there, I don't think that's damage that I need to fix. I'm just like stuck up enough to think that they're wrong.
We've just focused on anger here and all that stuff, and the problems with the parents. But there will be other elements that include love and everything else you've mentioned, that as you sort those out, they will continue to be fodder for your next song.
Right.
That's all. It's whatever you're sorting out.
Yeah. Just that absolute comedy.
But someone who isn't sorting out that stuff within them.
Right now.
Are we meeting here again next week?
Yes. It's helping me tremendously.
But all my journey is to be authentically who I am, not trying to be somebody else under all circumstances.
Have you found confusion?
Sure, there isn't. The whole world is confused because they're trying to be somebody else. to be your true self, it takes enormous work. Then we could start to look at the problems in the world. But instead, ego drives it. Ego drives the world. Ego drives the problems. So you have to work in an egoless way. This egolessness, which is the key to being authentic, is a battle. And it's a battle that has to be won before we're worried about the economy.
And I think that for a comic, it's a dangerous battle.
So
yeah, I'm curious. Do you think being a comic sort of like stunts our growth in that direction?
I would say that I struggle to not have that happen. That's my struggle.
Yeah, but why did the birds fall out of the sky?
First of all, I don't think really a lot of them are that good at flying. Secondly, you know, everybody takes it for granted. There's a bird. We're talking about how hard it is to be a comic, and we know they're all different. All of a sudden, 500 birds fell. How many guys haven't made it through the improv?
I'm assuming that I will get a little bit of an understanding of what your journey towards enlightenment has been like. I want to understand why.
This is not a safe environment to do it.
What would be a safe environment?
Well, you just keep asking me about it.
But I feel that you're very close to the vest about your experience, and I'm genuinely...
We need something in our society that says there's some importance to heart and authenticity, not just money, power, and how are we going to control the world?
I love you, Gary Shandling! Bo Burnham! Judd Apatow! Ray Romano! Gary Shandling! Mark Maron! Come on back, hang out at the green room.
The chicken with a